Hi guys, welcome to another session of Learn with Sid. This is Sid. Welcome to my channel. Do learn with me every day at 3:30 p.m. Subscribe to the channel Learn with Sid, like, share and comment. Now, I'm having issues with doing a live stream again today. I seem to have one issue every week where I can't connect to a live session. So I'm going to do a pre-recorded version during the time that we're meant to be doing the live, and I'm going to upload it in hopefully 15 minutes time. So you'll be able to still take part, although it's going to be slightly later and not live. So welcome today. Today's going to be a science session, and I've realized I've got mixed up with the order of the sessions again. So yesterday was meant to be science and today was meant to be art, but I've mixed it up. So yesterday we had art. So today we're going to have science. Today's science session is going to be about friction. Okay, so friction we experience every single day. We need it in some cases. So we're going to have a quick look at what friction is, why it's good, why it's bad, and some science around what it actually does and how it helps us. So let me share with you, first of all, my desk so you can see what I am going to be doing. So today's session is friction. You're going to need some water. I think I need some water. You're going to need some paper. You're going to need some felt tips like you generally do. You're going to need also an object. It can be any object. We're going to be looking at how friction works for different objects. So any object, we're going to just be testing it out. And plus you need a little bit of tissue paper as well. Okay, so have all of those things ready. Let's share with you my screen, my desk. Okay, so this is going to be our friction session. So we're going to start off by writing a title in the middle. We're going to write friction, big letters, fill it all in. And we're going to see what we learned today. So let's write friction. Okay, so what exactly is friction? Well, friction is a force which stops things from moving. So for example, if I am trying to drive a car, friction is going to be slowing it down. Okay, there's also going to be friction caused by the air resistance, which again is going to be slowing down. So friction is used in lots of different cases. So let's first of all draw ourselves a car. And we're going to be outlining the different parts of the car which are experiencing different versions of friction. So friction, we can have different versions of it. So they're always forces which stop movement from happening. So the three main ones, we're going to have surface friction. And that happens between two objects. So we're going to have a look at that. We're going to have a quick look at air resistance. And as the name suggests, that's going to happen in air. And we've also got water resistance. Now, the difference between these are the different substances that we're using. So surface friction, we're looking at two solid objects moving past each other and causing friction. Air resistance is a solid object going through air. Water resistance is a solid object going through water. Okay, that's what the difference is. But in each of these cases, you're stopping the object from going forward. And the way it's stopped from going forward is this friction. It's a force which is stopping the movement of forward. So we're going to be writing on here what forces our car is experiencing first of all. So we're going to have the driving force. The driving force is going to be pushing the car forward. Okay, so this is my driving force. And that is from the engine of the car. So let's color that arrow in. And again, you can be coloring all of this in and making it look nice and cool. So let's color that in. So this is my driving force. And that's coming from the engine of the car and it's pushing it forward. Now the tires on my car, these are going to be on the surface of the ground. Okay, that's your road. Let's draw the lines on my road. Okay, So that car is traveling along the road. Now those tires and the road, that's going to cause surface friction. So there's going to be a friction from the tires. So I'm going to get a red color and draw some arrows to show that there's going to be friction from the tires. Okay, so we're going to have arrow here, friction between tires and road. Okay, so that's one type of friction that your car is going to be experiencing, right? Another type of friction, we're going to have air resistance in this particular case, okay? The car is not going through water, hopefully, you're not going to be stuck in a river, you're going through air. So it's going to experience air resistance. So I'm going to use a different color for air resistance. Let's pick gray. So the air is traveling and hitting the car as the car is going. So this is going to be experiencing air resistance. We're going to write here air resistance, and the arrow is going to be like this. Okay, so you can either have it here or you can have it here, and it's representing that the car is traveling and your air is trying to flow around it, and because it can't flow around it, it's going to hit this, and that's going to cause air resistance. Okay, so now if we're trying to move an object, so I've got an object over here, I'm going to apply some force. Now I've already started applying force, so depending on how heavy your object is, if your object is quite light, it'll move really quickly. But the initial force that we apply, I'm already applying some force, but it's not moving yet. So initially there's a static friction. That's friction that's stopping the object from even starting to move. Okay, so you've got static friction, and then when it starts to move, you've got dynamic friction. So this car is experiencing dynamic friction because it's already moving. Look at this, it's already moving. But this car could be stood still and its tires could still be initially experiencing the frictional forces. So this can be broken down even further into two different types of friction. We're going to have static and we're going to have dynamic. Static is when an object is not moving, and dynamic is for moving objects. Now, people normally think that friction can't happen if you're stationary, if you're not moving, okay? But if you think about it, if you've got a heavy box, let's draw a big, massive, heavy box. I'm going to use, I need a brown color for my heavy box. Do I not have a brown? How do I not have a brown? I had a brown here. I don't seem to find a brown. I've got a small, I had a thick brown, I found a small brown instead. Right, so if we draw, I'm going to draw it here because there's space. We've got a box. It's really heavy. It's got so much stuff in there, and it's so heavy that I am pushing against it and I can't move it. Okay, so I'm going to be tiny. I'm going to draw a little stick person trying to push against it and not managing to do it. Okay, so here I'm going to draw a stick person pushing against it, and there's no movement. Okay, now there's a force being applied, but it's not moving because the surface that's touching the ground is not moving as a result of friction. There's friction in between the surface and the box. Now, the heavier the object is, the more force it's going to take for it to start moving. Okay, so it's linked with mass, and it's linked to how fast you're trying to move it. So when you do GCSE, you'll learn that mass and acceleration and forces are all kind of interlinked. But in this particular case, you've got static friction because a box isn't moving yet. So we can apply a force. Box doesn't move. Box doesn't. Oh, doesn't. How do you spell doesn't? Does. Oh my God, I don't know how to spell doesn't. I've just had a mental block. Let's have a look. It's D-O-E, right? D-O-E? D-O-E-S-S. D-O-E-S-N, doesn't. That's better. The box doesn't move, and it doesn't move because of friction. There's friction here stopping it from moving. So even though this guy is pushing, the friction is acting in the opposite direction. So this guy is pushing this way, the friction is acting that way, and it's stopping the box from moving. Okay, so friction happens every single day. Now, what about air resistance when we've got objects falling like this? Okay, in this particular case, friction, I've got a tissue paper and it's floating. Let me just share my screen so you guys can see. Right, so I've got a tissue paper. That falls a lot nicer than that does. That just makes a sound. Okay, so in this particular case, we want friction because the concept of drag is used in parachutes. So friction becomes a good thing because it helps to slow down an object. If we were falling down at this speed, we would really injure ourselves. We wouldn't be alive. So friction in some cases is useful. So let's draw a parachute person. We're going to draw a parachute. Okay, and in this case, there's air resistance going up. So I'm going to draw here an arrow to represent the drag force or the air resistance. You can call it drag or air resistance. The person's obviously falling down, so the weight of him is pulling him down. Okay, so we've got a downward force over here. Let's draw that in red. But the frictional forces is going to slow him down. So in this particular case, friction is good. So friction is useful in slowing objects down. So friction is useful in slowing objects down. Even when we're driving a car, okay, even when we're driving a car, when we hit the brake, we slow our car down as a result of friction. Without that, we wouldn't be able to slow ourselves down. Right, so we're going to color all of this in. You can test my theory. Next time you've got a big box that arrives, disinfect it obviously first. Try moving it and see what is happening. If you put it onto a surface which is smoother, you're going to find it easier to move because there's less friction. If you put it on a surface which is like a carpet, where you've got little bits sticking out, you're going to find it much, much harder to move that object. Okay, so friction plays a major role in every day. We are using it without realizing it. So it's amazing to study it in detail, to look at forces in detail, and to learn about how they work. So I'm going to color this in, make it nice and colorful, color your cars in, submit your work in. I'll give you an extension so you can do this for tomorrow because I know I've missed my video is not live today. So try and get it done by tomorrow. And I will produce into a video, send it over to me, add your names. I'm going to be adding my name in a second. Add hashtag Science with Sid. And I'd love to see your drawings and what you've produced from today's session. So let's color that in. I'm going to color my my car in and my parachute in as well. Let's get that colored in. And I'll try and upload this video before my next session starts, so you guys who were waiting are able to do the session. So apologies, it's not live. I need to change the program I'm using because it's obviously not working the way I want it to work. So I'll be looking at using alternatives going forward. Right, so let's do our parachute. I'm going to color mine in yellow. Okay, so friction is really useful in stopping things, in slowing things down. It can be a pain as well because we don't want to be using all our energy in trying to overcome friction because we need a lot of force to make things move as well because of friction. But it's also good. So it's not a bad thing. It's got uses, it's got its drawbacks. So let's color in the road first of all. Then I'm going to write my name, and you guys can color in the car. I'm going to leave my car as it is. And submit your images in. Let me know what you think of the session. Share them with your friends. Tomorrow's session is going to be maths. we're going to look at averages tomorrow. So write your name. So Sid, hashtag Science with Sid, Science with Sid, and send your drawings in. I'd love to see what you guys get up to. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll try and get this uploaded, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye. And hopefully tomorrow's session is going to be live. So you'll be listening in to Learn with Sid every day at 3:30. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked live today, but I'm going to try and upload this in the next 10 minutes. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye.